So, hey guys, we have breaking news this afternoon. Massive breaking news if you are a Wolves fan. And that is that from multiple sources, it is coming out that Wolves head coach Vitor Pereira has been sacked. It has broke earlier by Ben Jacobs. We've tweeted that out, of course. It broke earlier by Ben Jacobs that Wolves have sacked Vitor Pereira. There is no official announcement yet from the club about the sacking of Vitor Pereira, but it has now gone on to, as you can see, BBC. This is the BBC Sport website. Wolves sack Pereira winless after winless start. Wolves have sacked Vitor Pereira after failing to win any of their 10 Premier League games this season. A 3-0 defeat by Fulham on Saturday. Wolves 8th at the top flight of the campaign, drawing the other two. They are bottom of the table, 8 points off safety. Pereira took charge in December 2024 and signed a 3-year contract only in September. But supporters have turned after him after the 3-2 loss of Burnley last week, with the Portuguese having to be escorted away from heated discussions with the fans after full time at Molineux. Wolves obviously beat West Ham and Everton in the Carabao Cup, but was knocked out by Chelsea on Wednesday. Of course, guys, yesterday was a massive game for Wolves and Vitor Pereira. And I was trying to be super positive, as I always try to be, saying it was November, when I saw the team, along with most of you, and he'd left Joe Gomez and Andre out. For me, he had to win that game. If he didn't win that game, it was done. It was like he got all his chips, he threw them all on a number and spun the wheel, and it was absolute carnage and failure. So, guys, thank you for joining us live on this. I thought it was important to do this. We're going to get some more comment in a second, and we're going to go with we're going to go to the chat as well. But as I say, the breaking news is that Vitor Pereira has been sacked, but we are waiting official announcement from Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm now going to bring our producer on, Emma, to react to the news. We're going to go to the chat as well and go through all of that. So, Emma, thanks for jumping on really quickly here. You was also there last night at Vitor Pereira. I was calling I'm quite patient, and I'm quite tolerant. Some people call me a happy clap or whatever. But like I said, he had to go after that. What's your initial reaction to the breaking news today?
I can't say I'm happy because I'm not. You can never be happy when anyone loses their job. And I do feel an affinity with Pereira. He united the fans. He came in and did a great job to start with. I do think it's actually overdue. I think I've been saying for a while that it was inevitable that he would depart. It was just when. I'm hoping that maybe the hierarchy have learned a few lessons from last season, because O'Neill was left to go on and on, and the club, it really did descend into chaos. If you remember the Cunha incident at Ipswich, it was just a complete mess. And I think we are heading that way. You can see discontent with the players. They're disorganised. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, I do not think Pereira can argue with the decision. He hasn't done a good enough job. Yes, he might not have had the tools to do what he needed to do, but at the end of the day, we haven't won since April the 26th. And I think that says a lot, really.
April the 26th. Look, it's never nice when someone gets the sack, but let's be real. I like Vitor Pereira as a person. I think he came in and did a great job when we needed him to last year. He really bonded with the fans like no one really since Nuno Espirito Santo. First the points, then the points. But let's face it, Vitor Pereira, unless he's been drinking whiskey at home and drowning his sorrows, he's been teetotal. And this is definitely last orders for Pereira. I think, you can say it's sad, but let's face it, he's paid a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of money, and he will get a payoff. I know he's had he had that 3-year contract in September, which all the fans were like, why is a guy that's not won a game since April, 4 matches into the season, not won any of the pre-seasons, been given a brand new contract? There is rumours and speculation that there is a break clause in that if he hasn't got so many points by a certain time, that they can make a much cleaner break and not have to pay the 3 years. Because here we are again, not quite 12 months on from the sacking of Gary O'Neill in similar circumstances and the same mistakes. And the thing is, the infrastructure, the footballing infrastructure, probably, Emma, isn't as strong as it was. Obviously, Matt Hobsker's gone. Vitor Pereira's brought in a lot of his own staff. Even the technical director, Domenico Tetti, who we've never heard from.
We saw him yesterday.
Yeah, we saw him. He walks past staring at people.
Yeah, with his blinkers on.
He doesn't want to hear, we're not heard from him. But I'm a bit concerned because not only has Vitor Pereira gone, but the backup footballing infrastructure at the club as well is in a shambles too, isn't it?
Well, it is. This is it. I mean, obviously Domenico Tetti. I mean, who's going to be responsible for bringing in the new manager? Is it going to be back to Jeff?
Well, that is a very, very good question. That is an incredibly... he looks like a Bond villain. That's made me laugh, that has.
He looks like
the one about Domenico Tetti. He looks like a Bond villain. That's brilliant, that is. He actually does look like a Bond villain, to be fair. Mate, I'll tell you what, Emma, I am so fed up. I think all the fans are so fed up. And we do want to go to the chat in a minute, guys. We are going to go to you guys in the chat. We've got 500 of you jumped on live. So thanks for jumping on live. Hit the like because we've got more on this coming through this. Hit the follow button. We've got more coming on this later on today. But it's depressing. I mean, every fan loves this club. They support the fan. The home fans, the away fans, they are magnificent. I mean, yesterday I've had messages from Fulham fans who basically have messaged us and said we were the best set of fans that they've had at the Craven Cottage. And to say that a club in such a crisis, so mismanaged and run like this, that the fact that Fulham fans are messaging to say that we've been the best fans that they've had, to be able to show that level of support in these circumstances says everything about the fans of this club, the good side of the fans of this club. Absolutely magnificent support, singing love letters to the past. The message was out there. The fans were magnificent, and we deserve, as fans, Emma, we deserve better than this. Full stop. It's not just, of course, is it about the manager? Emma, it goes a little bit deeper.
It definitely does. But before we move on to that, can I just address something that I feel? Yeah. I know it's out there that a lot of people think that Pereira chose... Oh, sorry, you froze then. Pereira chose the starting 11 because he wanted the sack. I'd have to say I don't buy into that at all. I don't think any manager chooses 11 for the relief of getting the sack or a payday. And I don't think Pereira is that man either. I actually genuinely think it was pure desperation, that he's at the end of his tether. He's spent that much time looking at it closely, analysing it closely, that he can't see the wood for the trees. And I also think he probably picked the starting 11 of the players that were still backing him. and the players that were questioning him and potentially where he'd lost the dressing room were benched.
I think that's a really good point. I do want to. We've got a super chat here from Fletcher Russell. Thanks ever so much, Fletcher, for the super chat, which really appreciated. He said he's an Everton fan here, mate. The way the club has been run, through directory club soon. West Brom may surpass Wolves if it carries on like, and I hope it turns. We really appreciate that. Right, let's get some people saying here 100% Emma. Absolutely, Emma. Good points, Emma, on what you've got to say. Peter, I'm going to start running down the chat now, guys, so we can get your thoughts on this. And we will be doing a massive, big extra time show tonight from 8 p.m. It is going to be a massive show. You'll be able to phone in. We'll get all the main guys and gals on to talk about this, because this is massive news and could change the season. So if you want to come on to that, drop us a message and we'll get you on tonight's show. The show as well. A lot to discuss. I do believe, Emma, you've got. Let's just. Matthew agrees with Mrs. Dazzling. Thank you for that.
Mrs. Dazzling, that's a new one on me.
We got Will loves your t-shirt as well.
Got a bit of sparkle, look.
It's got a bit. We need a bit of sparkle. I bring the dazzle, and you bring the sparkle. That's about it. Nicola says, "Thank goodness for some good news." It is good news, because in the fact that we do need a reset. But it's sad that it's come to this. I agree with Emma that it's sad that it's come, because I really wanted Vitor Pereira to be the man. I really wanted. I think we all did, because we bonded with him. He looked out of his depths and lost, and you cannot stay in the job after losing for 6 months, not winning in 14, losing to all the 3 promoted clubs, getting battered at home by Leeds 3-1, not turning up for the first half of games when he's been saying we need to show 2 faces. It's okay saying that after Sunderland, and then doing it against Burnley, Chelsea, and yesterday, and then the team selection yesterday. As I said, the game reminded me of when Bruno Lage played Neves at centre-back against West Ham, and it was like, this better work, mate, or you're done. And that was how it panned out yesterday. But I agree with you, Emma. It was a bit of desperation.
I think do you remember Wolfsenga? Do you not feel he's a bit of a character like that, in that everybody loved him?
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out, did it?
Yeah, bit of a Wolfsenga. As Lamb sending a super chat. He's proposing to get Magic Moss in as interim. And someone had this in the chat, said Carrick could be interim. Get who? Hands up if you think Magic should be interim manager for Chelsea. That would be fantastic. People are talking about Muscat. Someone said Tony Pulis here. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Are you thinking Rodgers would command a huge salary? Someone says Rodgers will be a disaster. Emma, you've got some latest.
Well, I just had a quick Google, but it's from TalkSport. It is a little bit. It's a few days old. It's not. There's nothing out for post the actual sacking. But at the top of the list was Brendan Rodgers as a favourite. He's actually
Rodgers, right.
He's well, a few days ago he was 2-1. Do you just want to run down the list of who's on it?
Yeah, let's. Thank you for doing this list and coming on. What have we got?
I don't think we also need to address the big elephant in the room. Is that we can change the manager and it's a short-term reset, but it doesn't solve a lot of our underlying problems at Wolves.
Which are?
Ambition.
Hold on, Emma. Let's give us the list, and then we can talk about the underlying problems. Okay. And thank you as well. If you're on, if you've got some people joining us on TikTok as well, we will get to you guys as well in the chat too. So stay patient, because we're gonna cover this off. We've still got about another 15 minutes of the show on this, and we're gonna delve deeper into this.
Brendan Rodgers, Sergio Conceição, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Kevin Muscat, Eric Ten Hag, Frank Lampard,
Why
Derek
do you shake your head at Frank Lampard?
Pardon?
Why are you shaking your head at Frank
I don't
Lampard?
want Frank Lampard.
Why? He's like Coventry are destroying. I don't think Frank Lampard is in any way going to leave Coventry,
No,
but
probably not.
he hasn't worked out a couple. But he's doing an amazing job there, isn't he?
Yeah. Derek McInnes.
Who's Derek
I
McInnes?
don't know.
Is he the guy?
Someone tell us who Derek McInnes is.
Is he the guy at Hearts? I'm not sure who's doing well at Hearts.
I don't know. Stephen Gerrard.
Right.
Russell Martin.
Russell Martin?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And Mark Robbins, who isn't on the list that a lot of fans have been talking about, is Michael Carrick and Rob Edwards.
Yeah, Liam says he's the Hearts man. He's the Hearts manager, and Neil says that's the Hearts man. I thought it might, who's not on the list? Rob Edwards and who?
Michael Carrick. I mean, there's probably more, but those are the ones that I've seen people talking about that aren't on this list.
Yeah, people are saying McKenna's Hearts. He's doing a brilliant job. Again, he's doing well. 10 games in at the moment.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure he would leave Hearts, who have got the chance of being the first Scottish Premiership champions other than Celtic or Rangers. They're like 9 points clear at the top. For him, I guess that would be...
He's lower on the list at 12-1.
Tom Molyneux says, get Nuno home. If we'd have gone a little bit earlier, we could have without a shadow. Luke on TikTok says Rogers. Brummy says Carrick's a good call. Someone says we're not getting Lampard. I don't see that either. Let's have a look down the chat. A lot for Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has experience. Rob Edwards, Cliff says, Rob Edwards loves Wolves. He said it's his dream job. Absolutely. When we spoke, was it Matt Murray a couple of years ago? Yeah. We sat on a couch with Matt Murray, having a proper little chat with Matt Murray when Rob was over at Luton. And he said that Rob Edwards would walk on water to manage Wolves. Obviously, he needed to get more experience, but he's doing a grand job at Middlesbrough.
But I do think he's sensible enough he wouldn't just necessarily jump ship. It's got to be at the right time for him.
Oh, yeah, but no guarantee of him getting promoted with Middlesbrough, is there? I mean, you don't know, but there's no guarantee of keeping Wolves in the post. People are having a laugh now. Mike Tillman, Gary O'Neill, we really need him.
You know what? I read an article about a week ago listing the potential replacements. They were all quite a bit... It might well have been written by some sort of fantasist, but I can't remember who it was, but it was a genuine journalist and a proper publication. And Gary O'Neill was in there for a potential return. And I was like, I don't think he'd want to come back here at all.
Yeah, Mark 2468. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining. We've got like 700 of you joining in live, so thanks for joining us on the spot tonight. There will be the normal extra time show later on this evening. It's going to be a bumper edition, guaranteed. So make sure you do hit the subscribe, hit the bell. Now, you do not want to miss tonight's show because it's going to be a bumper edition. Mark says, please not Russell Martin or Ange. I'm 100% with you on that one. Emma, you wanted to say about the things that run deeper. We're talking about the manager, but the things that run deeper, what's your points on that?
I just think, right, I am not making excuses for Pereira. It was the right decision. It wasn't working and he needed to go. So I'm going to put that out there first of all.
Yeah, put that to bed.
But we have major issues with the way our club is run. Fosun have basically washed their hands of any new investments. They just want to keep us ticking along. They want us to be self-sustainable. This has resulted in a total lack of ambition from the club. And it's not just about money. It affects the club in so many ways, because if a player is looking to come to Wolves and all they can think that is in their future is a relegation battle year on year and year, we are not going to attract any talent whatsoever. But for me, Fosun have an opportunity to change tack. The fans are very vocal. They're very much Fosun out. It's very clear that there is a large portion of the fan base that want Fosun out, and they did great for us in the first few years. Let's not forget that. But if they can't move us forward, then they need to sell to someone that can, and I mean someone that can, not just someone that turns up with the money. And perhaps, I mean, I'd be very against a John Textor move, but Fosun are capable of rescuing this situation. There are two things that I see that they would have to do to get the fan base back on side. One is a massive U-turn on the investment and the ambition. Number two is that Jeff Shee would have to fall on his sword and be replaced. He couldn't, if they're going to have a change of tack, he would have to be sacrificed by them.
Would that be going completely, or would you say, Jeff, go and work on the esports and the overall group, but moving? That's what tends to happen, isn't it?
From my experience in business and life, the people that aren't very good move upwards, so we'll probably get promotion.
Yeah. Carry on, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's just my thoughts. It's not irretrievable from Fosun if they had a change of tack. They put the money in and they're actually successful at doing it. But as I say, Jeff Shee would have to be replaced.
Yeah, I mean,
for that to work.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on with a lot of what you're saying there. The problem is that the club has gone backwards year in, year over, and you cannot argue with the fact we've sold our crown jewels year in, year out, and we have brought in some good players that have developed it. I mean, we brought in Cunha, for example, and Neto, and they've identified in the past some good talent, but then you sell them on after 2 or 3 years and stuff. What we should be doing is looking at building a team. We had if you look at that team that we had when we were finishing 7th and going to the FA or Long Wayne Cups, nearly got to the FA Cup final, Europa League, beating Tottenham just before the pandemic hit, and we were so close to champion. You look at that team. You look at the team that they built then. Not one fan could ever turn around and say they hadn't done an amazing job, Fosun. They've done an incredible job with us. We were feared by every single club in the land, and we're starting to get noticed globally and in Europe and then the investment has dried up. They've gone to the self-sustainability model. The recruitment hasn't been great. We've had some successes. We've had a lot of non-successes, and they've just sold the soul of the team that we had. And it comes to a point yesterday when you've got Raul Jimenez, who's playing for Fulham, and the fans are singing to him, and he comes off the pitch when he's substituted, and Raul waves to the Wolves fans, and they sing it again when he comes on. When Adama Traore came on yesterday, they're singing his song. The problem is we want to be singing songs, new songs, about the players that we've got in the team at the moment. And we have got some songs. We have got some players that we identify with. The fans showed their feelings yesterday, their identity to Joe Gomez and Andre, and they're singing the Santi and the Hugo Bueno song. But we can identify with individual players, but we cannot identify with what we're seeing on the pitch with this Wolves team, because we're not seeing a Wolves team. We're not seeing something that we can identify with as fans on the pitch. And it's all come from upstairs, and it all seeps down in the long term to it's just chaos. And that's the problem now. The whole footballing infrastructure, not just Vitor Pereira is, as obviously he will go, all his backroom team will go, but doesn't seem to be any footballing infrastructure at all at the club, and that needs to be rebuilt completely. And for me, we have to appoint, and Fosun have to appoint, a proper footballing CEO, a proper CEO. Let the chairman do his chairman things with the esports and the overall group, but we need football people in football positions. And I've said it before, You know, Jez Moxey got a load of crap when he ran the club, but he was a proper footballing CEO and he ran a great ship and he put us into a good position to take the sail. And in hindsight, I think a lot of people appreciate that. And we've also, I keep saying, I don't think he's in work at the moment. Dan Ashworth, his son, apparently is in the Wolves Academy and he lives local. You need to get someone like him in for me and then build from there. But in the short interim, now, Emma, the question for you, would you go for a firefighter in the short term, like AKA a Sam Allardyce or that type of character to the end of the season to get us out of this met and then reset and go forward? Or is it going to be the same as rinse and repeat? We bring someone in and it works for a bit and then they replace again. Where's your views on that? And where's your views in the chat, guys? TikTok, on YouTube. Where's your views on the chat on where we go to from here?
I mean, obviously, I haven't got the list of candidates that want the job. What I would say is I want to stay in the Premier League no matter what happens. I think if we have a firefighter that keeps us in the Premier League, and we do like what Bournemouth did, they sacked Gary O'Neill and brought in Iraola.
And look where they are. They're second in the league now.
Yeah.
Bournemouth.
What I don't.
No disrespect to Bournemouth. Bournemouth are not in any way close to being a bigger club with the history of Wolves, but they are a very, very well-run club by owners that know what they're doing, and they've had a plan. And look where they are now.
Do you want me to finish?
Sorry. Carry on.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
You were on about the plan.
So I'm happy if we have a firefighter, but I don't want that firefighter to be rewarded with a contract just because he's kept us up if it's not the right person to take us forward.
Yeah.
So, but all these people saying, let's go down to the Championship, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, absolutely not. I do not want to be going to the Championship grounds next year. Last season, we did Bristol City and Blackburn Rovers in the Cup, and the football was... And I don't want to be doing that every week. I don't want all the midweek games. And it's not easy to come back up. We must absolutely stay in the Premier League. And I'll tell you what else I'm sick of seeing. I'm having a rant now.
My God, this is the first Emma rant. Go on, Emma, go for it.
I'm sick of the people that I keep seeing on Twitter that are like saying Fosun want to go down for the parachute payments, because that is the most absurd thing ever, because the parachute payments are minuscule in comparison to the financial advantages of being in the Premier League. It's ridiculous to think that parachute payments is what Fosun are after, because if you've got a you don't even need a brain. Just use the calculator on your phone and you can work out how much it'll cost. It's a lot of money.
No, I 100%
approximately
agree.
300 million.
I 100% agree with everything that you've said, Emma. You always talk really, really sensibly about everything. If we going down, they're not going to get a lot less money. They're not going to just sell when they go down. That's not often. What needs to happen, what absolutely needs to happen, they need to get in the right person. And I'm not, someone said, I'm not saying Sam Allardyce, even though he's a Wolves fan. I'm not saying
your example. Your firefighting example.
You bring in someone that can really get a reaction in the short term and get that bounce and keep us up, or do you bring in someone and hope for the long term? I mean, the appointment has got to be has got to be right. The one thing I will say, Emma, is if you bring in someone and say, like, okay, you got a short-term contract to the end of the year, how invested are they really in the project and stuff like that?
You would be telling them that if they can turn our fortunes around and show an identity and a clear playing style that will take us forward, then they'll be kept on. I'm not saying that it's not for the long term. What I'm saying is, in the summer, they do not get rewarded just because they've kept us up. They've got to be looking like the right manager to take us forward to.
Absolutely. Can I just stop you right there, because we now have official news from Wolves, which I'm going to share with you guys right now on the screen. So that's the official statement from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves. This has just come out. This is literally just come out from Wolves. Wolves have parted company with head coach Vitor Pereira after a winless start to the 25-26 season. It goes on to say, upon his arrival at Molineux last December, Pereira and his coaches made an immediate impact, guiding the team to a successful second half of the Premier League campaign. However, results and performances this term have fallen below acceptable standards, and as a result, a change in leadership was deemed necessary. All 8 of Pereira's backroom staff have also left the club. The under 21 coach James Collins and under 18 coach Richard Walker will take training whilst the club finalise the appointment of a new first team coach. Executive Chairman Jeff Shee said Vitor and his team worked tirelessly for Wolves and helped guide us through a challenging period last season, for which we are grateful. Unfortunately, the start of this season has been a disappointment, and despite our strong desire to give the head coach time and matches to find an improvement, we have reached a point where we must make a change. We thank Vitor and his staff for their efforts and wish them the very best for the future. What's your reaction to that in the chat? And Emma?
I mean, sometimes it just says we parted ways, doesn't it? It is quite a nice acknowledgement of the work that he did, but also, I mean, they had to act, didn't they? It just outlines what's gone wrong, really. The fact that the under-21 coach is going to take over disappoints me a little, because for once I'd really like to be that club that have the manager lined up ready, that they know what action they're going to take.
Well, I mean, like most of the clubs.
Yeah, it's like the manager, the outgoing managers announce the new incoming managers announce an hour later, or even the next morning. But the fact that the under-21 coach is taking it, they've actually put that into the announcement, tells me they've got no one lined up.
Well, let's hope that they've been doing some talks behind the scenes, because
due diligence.
Yeah, look at the. I mean, to be honest, George Callas makes a really good point here. I know this you might think this thing, but all the while
Come
that
on, get Macca in.
Get Macca, you know, it wouldn't hurt for a game to get Macca in. He can motivate people, and he can put a team together. I know the women's team wouldn't probably want that, but like you know, what about they know how to win football?
He does. Macca does coach with the under-21s as well.
Yeah,
because
he does.
He's full time at the club, but the women's team don't train full time, so he does step in and coach with the under-21s. So I'm sure he'll be there on the sidelines working with the men's team as well as James Collins.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be. Look, at the end of the day, the situation is this: we've got Chelsea away next week, which is 8 p.m. Saturday night, and then it's an international break. So I'm glad that the appointment, the decision's made now, and not to wait till after Chelsea. Even if we'd have got a result against Chelsea, that it was too late. For me, you could see that that he definitely lost, for me, some of the players. There's been something going on with Andre, which has been bubbling along for.
Well, yeah. He criticised Andre in the press conference, and I don't think it's been right since then.
And he also had a little bit of a criticism of Joe Gomez. The fans made themselves heard right at the start of the game yesterday. Was singing Joe Gomez and Andre, and at the end, the vitriol and the anger, should I say, wasn't directed at the players. It wasn't directed at the players. It was directed.
It wasn't.
It was directed at Vitor. The anger's been directed also at the owners. The anger's also been directed at the chairman as well. The players came over, they all look completely shell-shocked. We didn't look like a team, but they applauded the players because the players have been put on the pitch. They've been put out to fail, really. And when you've got like your two Brazilian internationals sat on the bench, not one but both of them, and he starts that game, you better be winning the game. So look, also think, Emma, they have got to spend massive in. We've got to be in a position in January to be close to being able to get out of it, and they have got to go big in January, Emma. I mean, I don't care about points deductions. We're going to go down anyway. So they've got to go, and if other clubs seem to be able to spend this amount of money and get away with it, we need to bring in.
We can spend the money. It's just Fosun won't stump it up at the moment.
Well, it's going to cost them £300 million if we go down. We cannot. It's not just about them. Just think about all the people that will lose their jobs at Molineux, all the part-time staff, and the City. It'll affect everything. The Wolves fans, all we need, and it's the 150th anniversary of the club next year. I mean, for ownership to take us down for our 150th anniversary, it's disgrace. So look, I agree with you. We're going to talk more about this later, everyone. I mean, Ricky's come on here. This is what I referred to. Understand there's a clause in Vitor Pereira as a new deal that means Wolves will not have to pay out the entire contract. I think that's true. I think that's true. I think there's definitely something in that that's been, and I hope that's the case. But look, we're going to talk a lot more about this on tonight's massive extra time show. We're going to have a lot of the regulars on. You guys will be able to phone in as well. If you want to get on the show, get in touch. It's going to be a very, very important one. But I do agree with what you're saying, Emma. This is not just about Vitor Pereira. He's had to go. No, even though he's a likeable chap, he had to go. And we wish him the best for the future. He's a nice bloke. He's just out of his depth. He'd lost the plot. He'd lost the dressing room, and worst of all, he'd lost the fans. And it's sad because I wanted him to be the new Nuno, but it's not happened. But also, Emma, 100%, the entire footballing setup at Wolves has to be restructured. And I do believe 100% that Jeff needs to step aside, go and look after the Fosun group, concentrate on all the esports stuff that he loves, and we need to appoint a proper CEO that can run this football club, who is a footballing person. And that's going to cost money to get in a quality CEO, but a quality CEO can come in and build the infrastructure of this football club, and that's what needs to happen. It's not just about Vitor Pereira. I know people want Fosun to go and Fosun to sell, and maybe that will happen, but it needs to be to the right person, not the wrong person. But that ain't going to happen overnight. The immediate things that can happen in the short term: appoint the right manager, bring in the right footballing people at the club, and let's move forward from there. And final thoughts from you, Emma, before and thanks, guys. We've had so many of you join us on the spot, on the socials as well. Thank you very much. Emma, final thoughts?
Sad, inevitable. I think he hadn't got the tools to do the job. It was very similar deja vu to Gary O'Neill, but Gary O'Neill did have a much stronger squad than Pereira inherited. I just think it's very sad. Wolves now have to get this decision bang on right. There is no excuses or room for failure in this.
Absolutely. And the final last words as well. We'll put that out. This will go out on you'll be able to watch it on Catch Up. We'll put it out on the podcast as well. Guys, thanks ever so much for joining us. Spot breaking news, as you know, officially announced that by now, Vitor Pereira and all of his backroom staff have been sacked. The official announcement is also out by Wolves. We'll be back later on this evening around about 8 o'clock on Extra Time, where you'll be able to phone in. Lots of views on this. We'll have all the regulars coming in, and we'll talk about the next steps and more fallout from the reaction. Thanks ever so much for joining us, and we'll see you later on this evening. Going to go and get some lunch now. Vitor Pereira is now had his last orders. and I'm sure he'll be having a pint somewhere on the way back to Portugal. But we do wish him and his family and everyone else associated with it all the best for the future. And thanks for what he did last year. But last orders at the pub, Vitor Pereira has been sacked. Until the next one, always Wolves.